Hey everybody, it is your favorite stylist. It is Melanie Day here with In Living Curls Hair Care Community, and I've got something really special for you all tonight. You're in store for a treat. As you know, August is Hair Loss Awareness Month, and this evening I will be joined by my mentor, Miss Toni Love from Toni Love's Cosmetology Training Academy. And we're going to be discussing the truth about lace front wigs. So, welcome, Toni. How are you doing today or tonight?
I'm good. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. So, this is going to be a lot of fun because, like you and I, we've been talking about this for a while. And this is just like the perfect timing for this lace fronts. And I feel like everybody and their mothers wearing lace fronts. But yeah, there's a good way and a wrong way to wear it. Oh, before we start, some housekeeping notes for those of you all that have joined. This is going to be like a really interactive session, so don't be shy. Get in the comments and type in your questions. Toni and I are here to answer your questions for you. To give you the facts, not just what you see scrolling on Google or in a forum, but actually like real life facts. So be sure and ask those questions. But yeah, so let's get started. So tell everybody who you are. Who's Toni Love?
I am Toni Love. I am a certified hair loss specialist and international educator. And I am based in Atlanta, Georgia. And I don't want to take up all your time with my bio. So people can go to the website, tonylove.com, click on About Toni, and all of my credentials and things are there.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay, that's cool. So tonight, like we said, we're talking about lace front wigs and just who should wear it, why do people wear them, why do women wear them. So that's the first question I want to ask you, Toni, is what are some common reasons that women wear lace fronts that you've seen?
Most of your common reasons, a lot of times, this is a twofold question because some people just wear it for fashion, for fun, just to change up their look, just to change up their color without coloring their hair.
Yeah.
But the history of lace fronts go all the way back to the 1600s. Men wore them in Northern Europe and Egypt, and so the history goes way back. Not has nothing to do with women at all. And then lace fronts were used a lot in theater when they were creating different looks for different actors and actresses. It was easier to use the lace front wigs. And then now, people who are suffering from hair loss are wearing lace front wigs. They've become popular. Um, as you know, as a
Mhm.
hair loss specialist and trichologist yourself, that's one of the wigs that's pretty popular, but there are so many other options for hair loss people. But lace fronts are kind of, you
Yeah.
know, the forerunner out there now.
So why that's a good segue. So why is that? Like why are lace fronts a more popular selection for, for clients that suffer from hair loss?
The history of lace fronts, they were, like I said, it goes all the way back to the 1600s, but it was so back then you were more aristocratic if you were wearing a lace front wig. It was more the higher end, the upper echelon people that will wear the lace front wigs. That's from the history of it.
Mhm.
Um, Now it's somewhat of a marketing tool as well for the vendors because it is so popular and people are wearing them just because. But for the hair loss client, it's really beneficial in a lot of ways because it creates. Let me show you
Yeah.
on my assistant here. So, so if you have a client who doesn't have a hairline, like if she's thin or she's losing some hair here, a lace front will create a hairline for someone that's suffering, whether
Mhm.
they're thin around here or whether they're bald. So a lot of times it gives the wearer a natural look, a natural blend. You can get the frontals. If she just has hair loss across the front, you can get a lace frontal that can go from ear to ear, and it gives a natural progression, a natural look, and it makes it look, very natural and not wiggy.
Yeah. So I like the mannequin that you have there. So that's a great example. So I've even seen some women they've I think you said it earlier that with the lace front, it's actually meant to create a natural looking hairline, right?
Yes,
So is there a right way and a wrong way? Like who should wear it and who shouldn't wear it? Should you have hair around your hairline or should you not have hair around your hairline?
that is an excellent question. As I said before, the lace will lay much flatter if there's no hair there. So now we have people shaving people hairlines off to make that lace lay flat, because after a while it starts to brittle. It'll get really brittle and hard, and it starts to lift.
Mhm.
So I would suggest anybody to go to a professional to make sure they are getting the right service for what they need. The other thing about the lace front, if a person does have hair, there are certain adhesives that they need to use. Um, One of the things I'm seeing a lot of the stylists, you probably see too, is
Mhm.
that people use the same adhesive all the time for everything. And you should be using the adhesive formulated for a lace front application. If the person has hair, you should be using an adhesive that was formulated to go on top of the hair,
Mhm.
not just whatever you're getting and just applying it on there.
Right. So that's good. That's good to know. So that's why education is really important. So you want to go for those that are listening, you want to make sure that you go to a licensed professional, someone who knows, that's been trained, that knows the application. There's different types of application methods. There's different types of adhesives, that Toni mentioned. Even for individuals that might have cancer, there's certain types of adhesives for sensitive skin that you would use too. So it's not just one size fits all. That kind of reminds me of the situation with Tessica Brown. If we can have that picture shown, um, I'm sure a lot of you all probably remember last year what happened with Tessica. I don't want to say Gorilla Glue Girl, so I'm not going to say it. I'm going to say her name, Tessica Brown. But basically, what happened was she used, and this is a really common thing. I see a lot of people using the Gotta Be glue for their lace fronts. That's what they're, using as an adhesive. Well, she ran out of it, and so for whatever reason, she decided to use Gorilla Glue instead. Well, we all know what happened. We all saw the story. It went viral. That stuff was like cement. It did not come out of her hair. She had to go to a plastic surgeon to have it removed. So, once again, for those of you all that are listening, please, please, I beg you, do your homework, do your research. Don't just, go onto a page because they have thousands of followers and likes and but don't have the credentials behind it. Especially when it comes to your health, when it comes to, especially your hair. Because we saw what happened. So, oh yeah, so you can take that down. Thank you. So that I um so I'll ask you this question. For
Okay.
someone who wants to wear a lace front wig, is there a method that they can do without using glue?
Yeah, yes. There are clips. Some of the lace fronts have been stitched. Um, there are different types. There's a technique that we teach, the interlocking net technique that you can use to apply the lace front straight to the hair. And I want to go back just a little bit. I
Yeah.
want to show this chart. I brought this chart to show when people take my class, we actually go through the different types of adhesives, and who they're used for, and whether they have hair, whether they have a hairline, no hairline, um, whether they're active. So I think that a lot of people don't understand the lifestyle of this person. Do they work out? Do they swim a lot? Do they sweat in their head? All of those things make a difference, because you may have done a great job on Miss Jones, and you could have used the adhesive that was not right for her and her lifestyle and her hair type and her skin type, and that lace front lifts. And
Yeah.
then a couple weeks she calls you back and she goes, this is not working. This lace front came up, and you like, I know I used the best adhesive, you know, but did you use the right adhesive? Not because it's a name brand, it needs to be the right adhesive for the right situation. So I wanted to stress that to whoever's watching, because sometimes people just use what's hot or what's popular or what they got from the beauty supply store,
Hmm.
and don't understand why that lace front keeps lifting.
Right.
And it could be the wrong adhesive for that client.
Yeah, that's a good point. So there's always a rhyme to the reason. It's not just just because,
Exactly.
yeah, not just because this person says, yeah, use X, Y, and Z. I like
Exactly.
that. So this is something that I see quite a bit. For some of us, like we're dating, we're married, spouses, partners, whatever, and we might be a little apprehensive, a little scared about wigs and things like that. So, what would you say to someone who speaks negatively about wigs? Like, how would you help them with that situation?
I don't think anyone should be speaking negatively about however anybody wants to do their hair, because, as you know, in the hair loss world, there are so many people losing their hair because of chemotherapy,
Yep.
um, um, side effects from medicines. Um, Kids are being bullied because they don't have hair. Some kids have nerve problems where they're pulling out their
Yeah.
hair, and I just think people are not educated. Even you had ministers talking about people hair from the pulpit. That's a little extreme when someone could really be suffering. And what we find with the Alopecia Foundation and the Cancer Society and the Lupus Foundation, leukemias, it's so many organizations out here trying to help these people. And a lot of people are suffering from depression.
Yeah.
Um, I have a student, um, she is not dating because she's afraid if her wig comes off, when she's with the person, what are going to be the consequences, and that scares her. And then she said, do I start off being deceptive by not
Mhm.
telling the person that I have hair loss issues? And so she goes back and forth with that, with inside internally. So she's like, I'm just not going to date. it's
Mhm.
it's just too complicated. But the other thing about this same student, she works for the CIA.
So,
So she's like, hair loss is a good thing. It worked out for me in some ways, because she said, her job with the CIA is disguises.
mm,
When the agents are undercover, they need mustaches, they need eyebrows, they need beards, or a blonde may need to be a brunette if she's undercover. And so that's the good part for her. She found a niche in our, in the CIA, and she's very happy there, and she does good work there, but she's a hair loss sufferer herself.
mm,
So you just don't know, whose feelings you're really hurting, especially with kids who suffer from hair loss. Now, you, me, and other people, we wear hair for fun.
yep.
A marketing tool in our industry, you look like what you're selling. So if you're selling hair loss or wigs or weaves and extensions, which I wrote a book about, I should be wearing wigs, weaves, and extensions to look like what I'm selling. And if you're a hairstylist, you're going to do diverse things with your hair. But for us, it's not that big of a deal. But for a cancer patient, for a kid, person suffering from alopecia, um, that's not funny.
No.
That really is hurtful.
Yeah. So, because like I said, you see that everywhere, and especially now, it's like you said, you just don't know who is suffering with hair loss or their reason for it.
Mhm.
And a lot of women might be scared to wear a wig because, I've seen people post like, well, I've ordered a wig, I've ordered a topper. This is the first time that I've, worn it out in public. How do I look? And they go on social media for the validation because they're afraid to share it with maybe those that are closest to them, but they're in a group that they can talk about it to. So yeah, that's why community is so important. So another question would be is like, what are some tips you would give a consumer when selecting a lace front? Because now everybody's got them. I mean, you can get them from like 19.99 to like $5,000. Like it's not a specialty anymore. So
Right.
what tips would you give as far as looking for a lace front?
Education is the key. I wouldn't suggest anybody at home try to do their own hair. And if you're a cosmetologist or hairstylist or barber and you're doing the applications, I either would go with the client to select or educate my client so they would know what they're doing or what they're looking for. But professionally, you shouldn't, have people bringing the hair into you. But I know today with the pandemic and all, people are shopping online or buying themselves. So, they need to educate themselves about the quality of hair. I would suggest they go to a stylist and get a patch test done to learn
Mhm.
about the adhesives and making sure they have the right adhesives, because I have a friend who did someone's hair, and the girl was going to the prom. And I teach you and others to test for the adhesive 24 to 48 hours. Well, a
Mm.
lot of people every day are popping adhesive on people's heads and not testing. Well,
Mhm.
this lady daughter had an allergic reaction. So
Oh,
when she
wow.
left the prom, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, she was in the emergency room. She
Wow.
had um, pussy hairline. Her eyes had swollen, the
Wow.
whole nine. So every time people are doing these lace
Yeah.
fronts and using adhesives and not testing themselves first, it's almost like Russian roulette. You just may break out, this
Yeah.
girl. And then the mother, of course, filed a lawsuit against the stylist because she had done the girl's hair and she had an allergic reaction to the adhesives. So I would just tell everybody be careful. A lot of times we want to take the shortcuts and do it ourselves. And I would suggest go to a professional.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's really good that you said that because once again, it shows, really where things should be done. It's a chemical and it's a strong grade adhesive, like a medical grade adhesive, and it's medical grade for a reason. So yeah, definitely, like I said, anyone who's watching, just make sure if you do decide to go and have your lace front unit applied, make sure you go to someone who knows what they're doing, that they know the different types of adhesives that are out there, that they are taking the time to do a patch test, not just rushing to take your money because some people will, unfortunately. But be patient. It takes time. That's probably the biggest thing I would probably share is trust the process, be patient with your stylist, with your hair replacement person, and that they know, like we know what we're doing, that it takes time to do certain things. So if you're patient, it works out right.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I'm not sure if we have any questions that are coming through just yet. Maybe people are a little bit shy right now, but like I said, this is more for you than it is for us. But also too, with lace fronts, you see a lot of celebrities wearing them. I think recently, I'm trying to think, Cardi B, like notorious for wigs, always wearing different types of wigs, but she actually just showed like her natural hair recently, just like how beautiful and long it was. I think we've seen photos of probably like Beyonce, Sierra, Viola Davis, basically all of Hollywood pretty much is in some type of extension. So if if a woman's goal is to wear a wig and to wear a lace front, what is the best way that she can maintain her hair underneath? Should she wear it daily, the wig daily, or should she wear it, once a month? Like, what's the best way to do that?
It's gonna vary. A lot of entertainers were wearing lace fronts because when, like with Beyonce and Cardi B, when you're dancing and under the lights, and another thing is not all African American people that are wearing these wigs.
Mm-hmm.
That I want to clarify that too, because a lot of people think the black women or the black girls wear the hair, but that's not true. So we didn't talk about
Yeah.
that, but we have a lot of entertainers because of the lights and the dancing and the sweating while they're dancing. The wigs they can maintain their look. That's why they have the fans and different things on the stage. So, with that said, I would just like to say, if you're gonna wear any commercial hair, you have to do it in moderation.
Mm-hmm.
You got to give your hair time to breathe. You got to make sure you are taking care of your scalp. You got to make sure you're clipping your ends. You're shampooing your hair on a regular basis. Um, there is a such thing as over conditioning, under conditioning. So you want to make sure you have that right balance. Um, and it also depends on if the person's hair, if they have oily hair, oily scalp, and or dry hair, those things have to be taken into consideration. Because if your hair is dry, your natural hair is dry, and you're going to put a wig on top and wear it for an extended period of time, you need to make sure that hair has a certain amount of moisture underneath there. Make sure the ends and the hair shaft is moisturized really good if it's going to be lying dormant and you're not doing anything to it. So I think those things are important. So that's going to vary per person, because if you have a person with really oily, skin or oily hair, then
Mm-hmm.
they're going to have to take it off a little bit more frequently because they're going to need shampoo a little bit more frequently. So that's going to be a client by client um, situation.
Yeah, and I'm happy that you said that because actually for myself during COVID, I had ordered I think it was oh yeah, it was the clip-in. It was the clip-in wig that I ordered. And I braided my hair up underneath, but my hair was so dry. And I was like, man, like I'm conditioning my hair. I'm doing all of this stuff. Like, why isn't it staying moisturized like it should? And now it makes sense. And so because it's taking all the moisture out of your hair, so you definitely want to prep it before you put it down. Yeah, that makes sense. So we just finished the Olympics and we were just talking about this. It's funny, but it's not funny. And this happened like I think like maybe 2015 or something like that. But there's a lot of women wear wigs that are in sports, track and field, especially. Basketball is really one that I see in particular. So for female athletes that have multiple practices in a day, they're sweating all the time. Is lace front a good option for them, or what is a better option?
Well, it depends on the application, because if it's not attached, they can just take it off and let their scalp breathe or shampoo their hair, et cetera, et cetera. So it's going to depend on the attachment method um, when they're doing these practices and different things like that. Um, the thing too about hair now is, I hate to say this, but it's almost like the mask. It's like an accessory to our outfits now.
It is.
Some people have so many wigs, and it's just like, okay, what am I wearing today? Okay, I want that hair. It's not that big of a deal, especially to those of us that's in the hair industry. It's more of a big deal to people, that's not into it. But even today, you have guys that's
Mhm.
really, really into hair loss.
Yes.
It started with the men. It didn't even start with women. It's even 1600s. It was the men that was getting their hair done. It wasn't the women. We just came on board like in the 21st century, pretty much, 20th century. Um,
Uh-huh.
but I say that because a lot of people need to understand, you know, when it's medical, it's different. It's almost like people need that to survive, to get their confidence back. But for your everyday woman who has hair, sometimes people just don't feel like doing their hair every day.
Yeah.
If they have to, I know in Atlanta, you're commuting an hour to work, and you got to get up at 5:30, and you got to try to get on the road by 6:30 before 7 and get to work by 9.
Yeah.
Hair is the last thing a lot of women want to think about. So I think it's more to why people are wearing the commercial hair now. It's necessity for some people, accessory for others.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
that's a great segue. Accessory for others, necessity
necessity for
for
some and accessory for others.
right. And so with that in mind, um, for those of you all that are listening, if you do suffer from hair loss and if it happens to be because of a medical condition, there um just wanted to let you know that your insurance, oh, we have a question. Okay. Yay.
Hey, one of my
No.
graduates! Yay!
If people are going through chemo, do they have a sensitive scalp?
Sometimes they will have sensitive scalp. And thank you for the question, Rochelle,
Yeah.
because people need to know that it's going to affect people differently. And some people, when they are going through chemo, they want their hair off. Like I've had clients, I mean, when they leave that treatment, they walk in the door, they're throwing the hair on the dresser because the chemo makes them feel hot and different things. It affects people differently. Sometimes the scalp is sensitive. We suggest you don't put any adhesive on a chemo patient at all.
Mhm.
Nothing on the scalp or anything like that. They can wear the units, but sometimes that scalp is sensitive. They don't want anything touching it. It just is, but it's gonna vary per person because chemo affects people different ways.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's a great question. Yeah, our first question. Now to remember. Oh, yes. So, for some, wigs are a necessity. For others, it's accessory.
Accessory.
Yes, accessories. So, getting back to the medical side of that, that if you are a woman who happens to suffer from hair loss, and if it happens to be because of a medical reason, depending on your insurance, that it can cover a percentage of your wig. Of course, in the medical field, they're not going to say wig, they're going to say cranial prosthesis. That's the medical term for it. That's the technical term for it. So definitely when you see, individuals like myself, like hair loss, hair replacement specialists, and then others that are out there, that is something that we work with. We work with your insurance companies. We try to help you out, and then also help you have a conversation with your doctor to get the ball rolling, so that can happen. So if anyone that's watching this, if you have questions on that, I can definitely help you, kind of work through that and see if that's an option and what you can do, because that is kind of like the best kept secret. A lot of people don't know. And yeah, so Tony.
Why don't you tell them how they can reach you,
Yes.
where you
Oh,
are?
yeah, yeah. So how you can reach me, I think we can kind of put that on the feed below, but I'm located in Lexington, Kentucky at You've Got Curls and Hair Loss Center, in Lexington, Kentucky. And my website is www.gotcurls.com, gotcurls.com. And in a second, you'll see all the information below. But if, like anyone who's listening, if you're a consumer, if you have additional questions, you can definitely, reach out to me that way on my website. You can also call me. My number is area code 859-552-9201. And for those that are watching, I will offer a complimentary consultation, and then also a conversation just to kind of get things going, because I know this is a lot to process. And for some of you, you'll probably be watching the replay and be like, oh man, I'm sorry I missed the live because I had a lot of questions. So let me
Tell them about your membership community.
Yes. So thank you for reminding me. Yes. So I created In Living Curls hair care community. Hence, this is why we're here tonight. And In Living Curls hair care community is basically um, it's a hair care community for women of color who are experiencing hair loss, or also, trying to figure out, their hair and have a lot of questions and just want to be able to maintain it better at home, have healthy hair. That's your overall goal. But with this is what you're a part of tonight. This is what we're doing. I bring to you the facts. I bring to you experts. We have panels. We're holistic. We talk about medical things. We talk about nutrition. We talk about you as a person, as a woman, things that affect women, women's health. It's everything. So you have the opportunity to be a part of an amazing community. You also have the opportunity to have me as your coach, as a one-on-one, where I can, walk you through more of a personal thing. I do a 90 days to healthy hair program that I can help you through. So if you have a goal and it's like, hey, for the next 90 days, this is what I would like to do, but I need that extra push, I can definitely help you. So the link is below. You can actually visit my website. For that, it is inlivingcurls.com. Not to be confused with In Living Color, but inlivingcurls.com.
Well, I brought a couple. You mentioned medical wigs,
Yes.
and Melanie, let me just say to you, I am so proud of you. I am so proud. You were a graduate of the hair loss certification class. You came, you did the business leaders program. And then after 1 month, you said, wait, I need more. You came back for 3 more months. And here we are today. So it's just amazing. I want you to know that. And for those that's listening in Kentucky, they need to come see you. I'm telling you guys, you need to go see her. You need to join her membership organization, her community, and get this ongoing hair care all the time. And that's the thing. A lot of consumers need to be educated, and a lot of hair cosmetologists, we in the salon, you just get the money, do the hair, get the money, do the hair. And there are so many other ways, like what you're doing, is creating a community so people can ask their questions and feel comfortable and good about the information they're receiving on an ongoing basis, and then letting you put a hair plan together for them and things of that nature. So I just think it's amazing what you're
Thank
doing. I
you.
do. I think it is. You mentioned medical wigs. So
Yes.
I brought, I had to,
Good.
you be on me, so I had to do you right. So I brought some units to show people why you should be certified in hair loss like Melanie. And like you said, accepting the insurance. This particular unit is an integration chain unit. So people sometimes worry that, they need ventilation,
Yeah.
so their scalp can breathe. These are not found in a beauty supply store, but you can see how, ventilated they are so that your people can get some air. If you're going to a doctor and you're getting injections, or if you need to put some cream or something on the scalp, then you can get down to the scalp. Or if you're getting injections, the doctor can get the needle in through there, so that you can get the treatments. So you can have the treatment and still have hair. And that's why the doctors support a lot of my graduates, because you were mentioning talking to the doctor. One of our people from the conference, Miss Brenda Dillard, she's coming in from Chicago, and she is a pharmaceutical rep. And she said, hey, we have to talk to the doctors to build those relationships too. So if you all are not registered for the conference, you definitely need to be there to get that information. She's going to tell you what to say, what to do, what to wear, what not to do, all of these things, so you can build these relationships with doctors. This is another one of the units. This one, again, if you're worrying about ventilation, You can see we call these integration chains so you can get some air. Again, these are not units that you will find in the beauty supply store. So when you see Melanie and other graduates like her, this is why they're getting the funds that they're getting and getting paid, because she's going to do the work for you. Melanie is going to do all the leg work. Um, she's going to have a consultation with you. She's going to get all your information, and then she's going to show you some different options like these so she can customize what you need. And I just wanted them to know really what kind of services you really offer. Even with this one, this is a full polyurethane. And if you look at it up close, it has little bitty little holes in it so that the client can still, get some air and the scalp can breathe. So I just want them to know, Melanie, what they're going to receive, what kind of information, how thorough your consultations are going to be when they make an appointment with you.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. Yeah. It's things are definitely thorough.
Yeah, definitely.
Very thorough. So if there's not any other questions that are out there, definitely we'll conclude. And I will say this, for any barbers or cosmetologists that are watching, if you're interested in Toni's classes, definitely check out her website at www.tonilove.com. Oh yeah, it's streaming through. And on that, I believe you click on classes, right?
Education.
Oh, you click on educate. Yeah, click on education and then select classes and registration. So like I said, if you're a stylist or a barber, or if you're a consumer who's watching this and you wish your barber or a cosmetologist knew this, definitely go to Toni's website at tonilove.com. For consumers who are watching this, if you have more questions about hair loss, about trichology, anything like that, I am Melanie Day. I am here to help you. You can visit my website for appointments. It's at www.ugotcurlz.com. And from there, that will be all of the salon things. For anyone who's interested in the community, for the In Living Curls hair care community, definitely highly recommend that you are part of that, because teamwork makes the dream work. We're all in this together. So go to the website inlivingcurls.com for more information. This has been a great time that we had together. I think this is going to be the beginning of something great. And for those that catch this on the replay, definitely catch this on the replay, because I know some people probably missed it. But there's so much information that was shared. I know there's a lot to kind of digest. But once again, we're here to help you. I'm your stylist and trichologist, Melanie Day, and this is Toni Love with Toni Love's Training Center. And this has been a great Sunday evening to spend with you, Toni. So thank you again.
You too.
And thank you for everybody that was watching. So we will see you next time. Bye.
Thank you for having me. Bye-bye.